yet. It didn't start yet. And when we start too early, you get this like bullshit intro. So don't give me that face, Joe. Like, wait until the red dot goes and the numbers start flickering. That's when you record.
Now we're going.
Now we're going. So now it's face of the franchise, you fool.
It's so weird, man. It's so different. I'm used to the ready, roll, boom, we on the mics and we rock it. And this whatever. I mean, we're getting used to it. We doing what we got to do to give you what you need during quarantine, of course. But yeah, throws me off, buddy.
Hey, I mean, what can you do? I mean, this is the time where the head honchos prevail of how they record and how they get their podcasts out there. And I'm not saying we're head honcho, but I don't see a lot of people recording. Do you? I see just us and like maybe a couple of them. Joe Rogan over here gets to deal with Spotify. Ooh, I'm Joe Rogan. I do DMT on fucking podcasts. Ooh, ah.
Where's it? I mean, buddy, we don't even have the near light sphere to have a beef with Joe Rogan right now.
Oh, I'm not beefing with Joe Rogan. I love
it. Sounds like you're beefing with Joe Rogan.
I make that noise for everything. Like I'll do that voice for Jesus.
That is your favorite noise to make.
If Jesus Christ, I'll do it for the devil. Ooh, I'm Satan. I make everybody sin. Yeah. Like, see,
I love hellfire and everything illegal that's not cool or that's cool.
Exactly. That kind of deal? I'll even do it to my favorite players, like Hines Ward in the back. Ooh, I'm Hines Ward. I'm the best blocking wide receiver in the NFL. Dude. See, like that.
Oh, I'm FedEx Field. I've been shit for years, and nobody really likes me, and Dan Snyder's a scumbag.
That's not a joking matter. That's actually a sandbox. And there was a...
Yeah, I got a little... some theory came out there.
But story time, real quick. So the one Steelers game I did go at FedEx Field for a Monday night game, one of my good friends who came up from Pittsburgh got stung by a bee, and his lip was like this big. It looked like he had... So the next week, they reported there was a bee problem at FedEx Field. So it's like, oh, fuck.
There's a lot of problems at FedEx Field.
I was like, dude, the sandbox, bees. Like, this is legit. The 10 plagues of Egypt were in that shit. Shout out Egypt. But, yeah.
We need a new stadium so bad. But what the fuck do we got on dock today, buddy?
Hey, baby. This is Face of the Franchise, as always. I'm Michael Shanita the Pharaoh. As always, across from me, it's the boy, Little Joe. Ooh,
yes, there's
on the mic. But, man, I mean, it's a slow week, but, you know, people like to make up stories and like to do stuff. But the first thing I want to talk about is...
to make up stories and like to do the stuff for Sentence of the Week on Face of the Franchise.
Well, like, the biggest thing is, like, we talk about Cam Newton, he was MVP in 2015. He was doing all this shit. He's working his workout videos. I'll talk about workout videos later. But we all thought maybe he'd go be a Charger, a Bear, maybe a Patriot. And news came out that Anthony Lynn did say they were interested in him, but they'd rather roll with Tyrod Taylor and eventually that they draft Justin Herbert, and then that's their future. But it's kind of weird. And like Tyrod, I like Tyrod. But I look at Tyrod as a guy that is a bridge quarterback that when you get the guy, you throw him to the side. And I hate to say it like that, but it's true. Like, the NFL needs bridge.
He's definitely earned that.
So, I mean, he took the Bills to the playoffs. I think if he didn't have Hugh Jackson with the Browns, he'd be coming up. And, of course, Baker Mayfield goes number 1 overall. So it's inevitable that guy's going to be the quarterback sooner or later. So Tyrod's just been dealt a bad hand sometimes, and now it's dealt again. I mean, Herbert's right behind him, and when he messes up, Herbert's going to go in. So the whole Cam thing, I hope he signs soon. He did say he's coming down, saying I'll be a backup if the right opportunity comes, kind of like Jameis did with the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I mean, what's your take on the Chargers saying no to Cam, basically?
I mean, well, yeah, we talked about a couple of weeks back, too, to kind of preface it. We talked a couple of weeks back about how he is at least finally willing to be a backup, and I think that's great. I think I hate to say it because you kind of said it but danced around a little bit, Nudie, but I know where you're going. He's damaged goods, man. I mean, at this point, that's kind of what it's looking like. And it's you go from MVP to, just Mr. Showboat, Mr. fancy hats and fancy suits, but no W's, and that's gonna hurt you every single time. And I know, yes, we had the injuries, we had this, that, and the third, and he kind of got a bad hand a little bit himself, but nothing, that an MVP shouldn't be able to wiggle out of and get yourself back on top. I think at this point, it's kind of had Cam's story written. It's not the best, most intriguing story, but it is what it is, man. And he did more than most quarterbacks could to get to a Super Bowl. At this point, I think he's going to end up somewhere. We have some odds here, Nudies, of where he's going to end up. As you know, the Degenerate and me, and go to, please listen to Degenerates Are Us, our
new episode.
New episode out right now. Newest podcast, besides Hoopin' and Hollerin', of course, of Four Corners Radio. So go listen to all our new podcasts, and of course, join us at the Four Corners Radio, DM at the Four Corners Radio right now. But more importantly, these odds, man. So we got Cam coming in at plus 300 at the Patriots. I see it, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't think it's going to work. And I think that, Belichick already came out and said we like the couple guys we got. They went, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later in the show, but they did go sign an undrafted rookie for the Michigan State quarterback. So we'll see about that, baby. They make magic down there at the bottom of the barrel. Brian Hoyer or die. We'll see. There's the tank for Trevor campaign going on. Of course, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think
the Stidham show.
I don't think really. It could be the Stidham show. We could see. I don't see Bill tanking either way, and I don't see him grabbing up Cammy. Steelers, your boys, also potential. I'm going to let you just address your feelings on that. And you think of that plus 500.
So I just want to talk about the Patriots real quick, and I think the rumors are true. It's not Bill Belichick who doesn't want him. I think it's Josh McDaniels. I think Josh McDaniels has a certain way of running his offense. Yeah. So we know Bill is a very good defensive mind. So when it comes to that offense, I think Josh McDaniels just doesn't like Cam Newton's style of play to work in his offense. For the Steelers, we saw the disaster that was last year. Big Ben goes down, and we still go 8-8. So we have a great defense. I think a top 5 defense. We have a lot of weapons. We got Ebron. We got Chase Young. We also got Anthony McFarland in the draft. So all in all, if everybody stays healthy, we should be a pretty good contender to make the playoffs. And Ben is not young. He's 38. The dude is – like Eli's retired. Philip Rivers is in the second team to be a bridge.
Young, youthful, rapey 38.
Here we go. But I'm a big Cam fan. So if Cam becomes a Steelers backup for a year or two, fuck it. Why not? It's better than Mason and Duck. Like, for God's sakes. Like you said, it's damaged goods. So
is it?
How much stock you want to put into the damaged goods? Fuck, Todd Gurley got a fucking contract, so why not this asshole? So
let's see. And then coming in on far out odds, baby, is my boys, the Redskins. I would love it, but then at the same time, I'm just feeling like you guys are trying to like put back together the band and go on tour when you're like 80 years old, and it never is a
Davis. Come on, you already might as well bring Cam. Trade for CMC. Trade your whole team for CMC at this point.
Moving right along, and then at plus 800, if anybody cares, is the Cardinals and the Ravens, and they're still trying to do this whole RG3 bid and buy, and it's it be it what it is. I think at this point, Cam and RG3 are. This is all, again, painful to say, but near the same, man. Honestly, at this point, I think RG3 fits fine in that system, and Lamar's not going anywhere, obviously.
So I'm going to probably a team that's probably below on the list because nobody's really thinking about it. The Lions with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford on his final year of his contract, plus he's coming off an injury. So if that offense doesn't hum the way that they want, plus their coach would probably either be fired or on the hot seat at that point, Patricia. So they need to do something to revive that offense. So Cam to the Lions, I like seeing that. Plus, see what I did there? I created something out of nothing. And you know who loves to do that?
Who that?
The sports fucking media world, because there's nothing else to talk about. So
they are quite talented. Or some would say we are quite talented since we're in that world.
We are quite talented. I think we can make up stories, but we don't do that here on Face of the Franchise. We're a good bunch of guys who just like to keep it straight. But some guys
give it you from the heart, baby. Give it
Yeah.
you from the heart here at Face of the Franchise.
We don't take things out of context like some people about James Harrison getting an envelope from Mike Tomlin. So, of course, it's about the Steelers. So I took a deep dive into it. I do
He's
listen
the franchise, a little bit of bias here, but we'll let you roll with this. Nudie, go ahead.
I mean, I'm gonna keep it as unbiased as I can because
there's a larger point. There's a larger point. Go ahead.
I listen to the podcast every Thursday, Going Deep podcast with Willie Colon, who is an ex-Steeler guard, and Stephen Shea, and they brought James Harrison on. James Harrison is a character. We all can agree. He loves this. He loves the theatrics. He loves doing all that shit. He's a man. So he was just talking
about that. Yeah, absolutely.
He was just talking about how, like, back in the day, everybody knows he hit after hit after hit looked bad just because he was stronger than everybody. And he's like, if I hit him high, if I hit him low, I would get a fine. So what am I supposed to fucking do? And I looked at the hit that he was talking about on some fucking wide receiver. I can't even name his name, and he's not even irrelevant. He hits him, right? But he catches the ball. If you look at the highlight, he catches the ball. He dips down his head to a full speed James Harrison. Like, what do you think is going to happen? You think something good is going to happen when you dip your head down to a full on James Harrison? James Harrison knocks him out, of course. So Mike Tomlin just had enough and was probably like, yo, dog, like, you're going to get fined. Like, it's going to happen. And it's $75,000. So he's probably like, whatever. And honestly, I agree with James Harrison. I don't think he was targeted in any ways. I just think he was just like, he hit people a lot harder than they were normally hit in that time. And if there was a bounty gate, don't you think Mike Tomlin and the Steelers organization would put a bounty on somebody better than Massaquoi or whatever the fuck his name is? Probably like on Josh Cribbs back then, or like the quarterback. Like, come on, man, use the brain in here. And then James Harrison comes out and says it's false because he's like, I'm just making up he's like, I was just doing what I do best and be a character. And everybody else, his agent, Mr. Rooney, all of them said the same thing. And when they brought it up on the NFL Network, Ian Rappaport even giggled. He was like, this is dumb. He even said, he was like, this is stupid. Like, this is the end of it. Once James Harrison retracted his statement, it's done. So it's
yeah.
like,
I mean, this is a pretty dumb story, man. I mean, it's, again, I said this a couple weeks ago, and I'll use this dumb cliche again, man. It's the squirrel skating on water skis, right? That's exactly what it is, man. It's more bullshit. That's the way the game was played back then. Let's look at the Last Dance too, man. It was just a harder game. It was a fucking more territory. The game is softened up, both basketball and football wise, because of those health and safety concerns and da. So we're gonna dredge up some old bullshit. Where they're gay, I bet you know what? If you ask me where they're about to get, every team probably had hits out on every other team. It was probably a little side game, and it was probably just part of being a competitor back then. Honestly, it was. Feel how you feel about it. You maybe don't think that was a thing. I 1,000% believe that. I mean, going far back as in the 70s, 80s, 60s, you name it as well, man.
They didn't give a fuck. You see the highlights of the 60s and 70s? They legit played football at its finest because there was no fines for that shit. I mean, corners were tackling wide receivers before they got off the line. Like, the whole 5-yard thing didn't exist, so they were fucking people up.
Yeah, it's just another non-story. I'm sure we'll have a couple more that we have to talk about here in the coming weeks as we decide if football is going to happen or not. Another
one. Good thing you brought up the Jordan doc. There was a part in the Jordan documentary of Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman, like, quote unquote, like, fighting on the court. And Karl Malone gave him a tap on the ass and said, like, good, being a good competitor or whatever. And Dennis was joking about how it hurts and shit. So, of course, Myles Garrett was like, yeah, but OBJ got a quote-unquote assault charge for doing the same thing. And OBJ said, it's funny how I got an assault charge, but you didn't, a.k.a.
This is my favorite non-story of the week, by the way.
So Myles was quote tweeted the picture of Jordan and Larry Bird calling each, like, saying, fuck you, you bitch, or something like that. And then, like, they were like, oh, it's all love, da-da-da. And a normal person can see that it's just two teammates rousing each other. Of course, sports. ESPN was
I
like,
don't know. Can a normal person see that? Maybe a normal sports fan. I don't know. Anyway, continue.
I'm not a
Can
normal
a person see that?
screw loose, but I don't have a screw loose when it comes to stories like this. I know when people are rousing each other. Like,
Right.
it's like, come on, man. Like, you really think OBJ and Myles Garrett are going to fight each other? Like, Myles Garrett, first of all, would kick OBJ's ass, would break him in half, number one. Number two, OBJ is not scared of anybody. But, like, honestly, like, people just want to make stories out of their asses. It's fine. Like, I guess it's boredom. So
The reason these things become stories in the first place, man, is because exactly that. You're just trying to drudge up bullshit to drudge up bullshit. And people are bored and out of their fucking minds and cause them to do a lot of crazy shit. Speaking of a lot of crazy shit, and boredom, that's exactly what happened this past Saturday to 4 football players.
yeah.
So I'm going to get just right into this, man. Some of these stories are actually extremely sad and hard to talk about. Not all the facts are there. I'm going to start with the most straightforward story, and that's something that is ingrained in the NFL's blood as long as time as the NFL's existed, and that is a DUI. It's ingrained as sexual assault. It's ingrained as Adderall. You name it's ingrained as taking a cortisone shot. Ed Oliver, just a classic dumb move. Gets pulled over for a DUI. It was said that he took Adderall and was drinking before, had a beer can in between his legs like your local drunken grandfather. It just kind of is what it is here, man.
Honestly, you want me to be honest about this whole thing about all 4 of them?
Sure.
Here's my take. You know who's probably like relieved that all this shit happened and nobody's talking about him anymore? Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas probably the biggest. This man is like, he's like, thank you God. He's like the news cycle every. Watch Always Sunny. There's a episode where they talk about the news cycle, how it changes every 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to Earl Thomas. Nobody's talking about the sex thing. Nobody's talking about the gun. Everybody's talking about how 2 knuckleheads robbed somebody, a guy got a DUI, and then we'll talk about Cody Lattimore, that fuckhead. But, like, these 4 guys, my God. Like, and then, like, it's not, like, I understand, like, and this was probably the best quote somebody told me back in the day. It was actually, shout out Mace Training, Eddie Mason. He was like,
oh, hell yeah.
He's like, oh, like, everybody can recognize basketball players and baseball players because they don't wear helmets. I've seen truck drivers that look like Ray Lewis. Like, you can miss, like, read some football players like, oh, like, that could be Ray Lewis. That could be Ed Reed. That could be Troy Polamalu. Okay, Troy Polamalu is bad because you can absolutely tell
who Troy fucking mop on his head.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't think you can mess this up. You know what I mean? Like, a guy, like, guys who did all this shit. Plus, they probably gave him their ID. And Ed Oliver, first of all, had his own litany of problems when he was in the University of Houston. He was fighting coaches. He was fighting teammates. He did some stupid shit on campus. Like, you could Google that stuff. But he still became a first-round pick. He was the guy that you pick in the first round, and you know what comes with it. He had a great rookie season, but now look what happened. So.
Yeah, and so going on. I mean, yeah, it's disappointing. He's still in the team's Zoom training program as of now. So we'll see what happens. I think he's going to get your normal suspension, and he'll be back on the field by weeks 5 or 6.
Oh,
moving on, man. To probably, sorry.
I said 100%. 100%.
Yeah. But biggest story of the week, man, is Dunbar and Baker. This story just has literally bigwig athletes can't be hurt, professional athletes can't be hurt written all over it, man. It's so basically quick just overview. If your head's been under the rock like mine has been a little bit this week, and basically party, Baker and Dunbar and alleged another guy come in and rob the house for a watch, a couple other different items, worth roughly about $70,000 to millionaire football players. Doesn't really add up. doesn't really make sense. Again, boredom and quarantine will make you do fucking batshit crazy things, apparently. And this was one of them, man. And so what ended up happening is they plead not guilty. Apparently, Baker just playing, kicking back, playing some Madden, playing himself in Madden, baby. And then, of course, you have the witnesses now completely doing a 180 and flipping Nudie. And just, I mean, like we're watching an episode of Billions, and Bobby Axelrod comes in and says, "What do you need?
You took my shit. You took my shit."
Just like Hard, you remember Hard Bob? Remember how easy it was with Hard Bob in season 4, baby? Well, what did Hard Bob need? Just some women and money. And I think it's
porn stars. Don't say women and money. Porn stars, dog. Legit
porn stars. Yeah, and big porn stars, by the way. American icons, as Wags did say.
If there was an MILF Mount Rushmore, those 3 MILFs would be on it. It was Lisa Ann, Corey Chase, and I think somebody else, but I forgot. If I rewatch the episode, I'll remember.
Forgive me for belittling y'all. I did not mean to do that. Please forgive me. No, I do not make light of you whatsoever. You are. We're going to try to move right past me being ignorant and ignoring the names. But with that being said, back to the serious story. Yeah, man. So they completely 180 flip billion style nude. What are you thinking here, dude? This is not even the craziest story, but it's still pretty fucking nutty.
I'm just so surprised because DeAndre Baker was supposed to be this, like, he was like the second best corner in that draft last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was. And now he's doing all this nonsense. How does it go from like 5 or 6 items in an armed robbery to nothing? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't disappear like that. And like you said it like in Billions. It literally was a Billions episode. I could not believe when I saw that the witness changed the shit. He said he's playing Madden. And like I told you before, it's like, yes, people.
Ballers went like a little dirty.
Yeah, worse than Ballers, because it's like we're not talking about like Ricky Jarrett, who was like a great player. We're talking about 2 bums. And I'm sorry, Dunbar, bum. Baker, maybe a bum. We don't know yet. But you all made out like bandits. People were like, how can you trade Dunbar for a 5th round pick? Redskins look smart now. Redskins look great. Like, that's PR 101. Like, when we traded AB, congratulations, you made it to that echelon. When we traded AB, how can you trade AB for a 3rd and a 5th round pick? Guess what? He's not playing in the NFL. Dunbar probably is not going to play in the NFL. Congratulations to organizations who realize that they have a problem with a player, even though how good he is. Clearly, this guy had something written all over him, but I didn't think armed fucking robbery. Like, come on, man. Like, this was like back in the day when Andrew Kernan had a party and we robbed him and people robbed him blind. And he's like, people stole my 3 laptops and put a hole in my wall. All right, dog. Well, you opened yourself to that shit.
Right. Well, here I think it was just
Kernan.
poor. You really did. You did. And what I said a couple weeks ago, in the quarantine, people are going to show their true colors. The weak will be weak. The bad shit will do bad shit. The strong will be strong. And here the bad shit will do bad shit. But the Redskins did have some good PR, man, for about 2 days until our newest signing.
The new signing. 24 hours.
Cody Lattimore. Cody Lattimore went ahead and made a questionable decision. Now, before you judge him, you did throw a fuckhead out there. You're not wearing pants for this episode, just so everybody knows. Nudie is not wearing pants for this episode. I almost consider not wearing pants, but did. Moving right along. So basically what happened here, people, was, and before Nudie did say fuckhead, I don't necessarily agree with that because before you make judgment on what Cody did, let me lay down the facts. So essentially the story here, it was a poker game gone wrong. Cody had his gun go off arguing with his best friend. Initially, it came out that it was between him and his girl, that his best friend took his girl. Whatever the case may be. Then Scheffner 2 days ago tweets out that in court, Lattimore's lawyer basically says that there was the reason this argument had initially occurred was because that his best friend, quote unquote, had sexually assaulted Lattimore's 4-year-old son. So before we make judgments and lay down on him, I mean, let's not to get too dark here, as we don't like to do that on Face of the Franchise, but what would you do? What would you do? Honestly, I mean, it's not like he, he still, if you ask me, if that is true, had the refrain and did not actually, yes, I believe somebody got shot and was injured, but I mean, he at least had the refrain not to completely kill this man, right? In some type of light. I think he came and went back, and yes, he had some intent, but at the same time, what would you do in that scenario is all I'm asking. You can make light, you can say what you will. I'm just asking people to think about that before they proceed forward.
All right. Well, okay. Let's break it down. So started off because it was a poker game or whatever. That's what they said, right?
Right.
Then it comes out that the guy sexually assaulted his 4-year-old kid, correct?
Right. And prior to that, as I just mentioned, there was at first it said, the best friend was with the girl, dating his girlfriend, and then it came out a couple days later that,
Ex-girlfriend, right?
Ex-girlfriend, but are still girlfriend. It was kind of murky waters there, but yeah.
All right. Here's my realistic approach to it, because I don't have a kid. I don't know how it'd feel because I don't have a kid. I don't know how it is to have a seed in the world.
I can't say 100% either, but as somebody that teaches kids, I feel very strongly about this. But
I would have fucked him up. I would have. Yeah. I don't know if I'd kill him. I think there's only 3 things. There's only like that's close. Like, you're towing a line of me wanting to fucking kill you and me just beating you so bad that you can't even move. And I know it sounds like I'm being a hard ass, but it's true. Like, think of it this way. You have a kid and your ex's boyfriend fucks up your kid. That's, first of all, I hate your ass because you're my ex. I don't know why you're my ex, but I hate you. And then you bring another dude into the picture. Yeah, of course. And this dude did that to my kid. I'm going to kill him. I might actually, I take that back. I'm shooting him in both his legs and he's never walking again.
That's your future. Yeah, you want to make sure you want him to be alive, know what you did. Who cares if you're in jail?
Or I'll shoot him in the dick. I'm shooting him in the dick. I can't lie to you. I'll shoot him in the dick.
We're on the same page with this one, baby. I mean, there's no excuse there.
You diddled a kid, let alone you diddled my kid, let alone you are the dude who is now dating my ex, whatever. I hate you. I legit, you are you're public enemy number 1 to me. I'm going to fuck you up and I'm going to shoot your dick and I'm going to shoot both your legs. So,
and not to get too free therapy on us, as that's a different podcast, which you should also go listen to, but new episode out, boom, new episode coming every Wednesday or sometime during the week, new episode out every week, one day of those weeks. But no, man, I mean, it's not to get too free therapy, like I said, but it's really, and this is a huge moral debate, right? Because there's going to be the side of you should have questioned. So there, especially in this day and age, there's going to be that side, even though I know how we both feel of, well, he could have self-restraint. Why don't you just call the police? Da, da, da. Who knows how that would have been resolved? Who knows how that would have been handled? Those cases are also very murky waters in court. But I don't want to get too much into this, but I think for me and you, it's a no-brainer. I got to fuck you up some way or another.
No, it's just, that's my seed. Literally, that is my son. The thing on this earth I'm here to protect is my kids. Literally, that's what every dad, every mom wants to do, is make sure that their kids grow up safe and sound and have successful, all that shit. I personally understand the whole restraint thing, but at the same time, there's restraint in certain things, and then there's understanding in other things. Does that make sense? If I do something to this guy because he did something to my kid, there has to be some understanding of that's human nature. That's animalistic stuff. Even in the wild, a person fucks up with a lion cub, the mom and dad are going to kill you.
Try to fuck with a bird's egg. See how that goes for you.
Fucking murder hornet goes into a hive of bees. What happens? He tries to hurt one of the bees. They gang fuck him up. They literally looked like 7 dudes kicking a homeless guy.
Why would the murder hornet try to murder members of technically their long distant cousins?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. It's a hive. I mean, you kill one.
I think they would try to murder us.
No, I mean they're known to eat bees. You know that, right?
Oh no, I did not know that about that. I haven't done my research on the murder. saw murder hornets and just assumed they're trying to murder me and didn't look too much further except for watch out for the murder hornets.
After after the whole
my research.
After the whole hive thing, and then the one with the praying mantis eating it like raw, like it fucking killed it, and then it was eating its face. I was like, this thing is nothing. Like if a praying mantis and a bunch of bees can kill it, just give me a tennis racket and I'll kill it too. It doesn't fucking matter to me. But
we're getting so off the rails here.
The point is, Cody Lattimore is definitely going to get cut. He won't be signed in the NFL anymore. But it's unfortunate because he was just doing what a dad would do, protecting his son, protecting his seed, like we said. And it's just like, that's what I'm saying. I understand his reaction.
It's a tough one, man. But at the end of the day, yeah, I'm with him, and it's tough to see a young receiver go like that because he was definitely somebody that worked. I think somebody that had a lot of potential and somebody that probably would have been on your fantasy radar, man.
He was what was it? His rookie year or his first or second year, he was the third wide receiver to Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker in that Peyton Manning offense. And he worked his way up to that point, and it sucks. And it sucks because it wasn't his fault. I don't think it wasn't his fault that this all went down. Like, the guy fucked up my kid. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, you're going to sit there and let him do it? No, fuck no. So, right. I don't know. And people, the people who say, oh, he's in the NFL, he shouldn't have thrown his fucking career away. Fuck you, dude. If I'm a CEO of a company and somebody fucks up my kid and I'm going to shoot somebody, I'm going to do that too. I don't care. It's a human nature. People, use your brains. Fuck you.
Billion, just one more Billions reference too, in case we just drive. You're going to get a lot of these, by the way, Face of the Franchise listeners, as the fifth season is out now. And this past season that we talked about briefly on air, or this past episode that we talked briefly on air, Bobby coming in for Gordy, risking his whole entire career. Basically, one of the main characters in the show we all love, people, came in, wielded his power as a billionaire to make sure that his son didn't get kicked out for running a multi-Bitcoin mining scheme in his dorm at his boarding school. So anyway, and same kind of thing. You will, it's nature. You will do what you have to do to protect, as Nudie phrases it, your seed. But speaking of seed, it all becomes, it breeds into wanting it all. That is a Super Bowl, at least here at Face of the Franchise, talking about transitions, Nudie. We got a new segment coming at you until hopefully the season starts right on time. That is, of course, the NFL Who Will Win It All preview. This week we are going to start off with the AFC East, and who we got, baby?
So we'll do a division by division thing, but we're going to do two teams an episode. So we, like you said, AFC East this week. So we're going to do Dolphins and the Patriots, kind of the teams that I thought would be at the bottom of the barrel. And I hate to say it for the Patriots, but I wouldn't say too bottom. I mean, you have Bill Belichick. So we'll start with the Patriots because I'm already talking about them.
Go for it.
Actually, while we were talking, they just extended Patrick Chung, their safety, for 2 more years. So they're keeping that defense pretty much intact. They lost Kyle Van Noy to the Dolphins.
That's big, though. No, that's big.
They traded Gronkowski's rights to the Bucs, and then there was like some guy named Timmy Brady, I think his name was. He kind of left. I don't know. He kind of.
I thought it was Tooney Tawny.
I don't know, but he's pretty much
Tonka truck.
But yes, the GOAT Thomas Brady is out the door in Bucksville. It's now Tampa Bay. That's what they're calling it, Tampa Bay. So,
and we're all here in 5.
So it's funny because now it's on that offense. It's just Sony Michel, James White, Julian Edelman. They have no tight end. Their offensive line is still their offensive line that they had for, I guess, a year now with Mason and Andrews and all that stuff. The defense is still kind of okay. They have still the best corner in the NFL in Stephon Gilmore. They have the McCourty twins. So their defense will still be up and up. Bill Belichick, obviously the best defensive mind in all football, in my opinion. Josh McDaniels, a great offensive coordinator. We talked about Cam Newton probably going to this team and them having the highest odds because Stidham, Hoyer, Leakey, or whatever his name is from Michigan State, who thinks he's going to be a great quarterback, even though he didn't get drafted. I don't know how that makes sense in your brain, but
watch out.
if
Another
he
Tonka
becomes
truck. Another Tonka truck Tommy.
if he becomes the best quarterback in the league, I will take 3 footballs to the nuts.
Okay.
And write that down.
Quickly,
Write that
I am
down.
writing that down.
But
It is not a fun. It's not a fun expenditure. I'll tell you that.
That's why I said it. I'll take 3 of them, and
I mean, there's no way it's gonna happen, but just in case it does.
just in case it does, if he becomes so, if that happens, we'll see. But I think this team is really gonna go 5-11, 6-10. Like, it sucks to say because I know Bill is not gonna tank, and I think he's gonna try his best not to tank.
You're locked in there, bud.
But Tom Brady brings so much to that offense that it's so hard not to say him leaving isn't going to have an effect. It will. And I think
For sure.
for transition wise, this team is in a position that it hasn't been in a while. And I think the uncertainty with Stidham, Sony Michel coming off a bad year, Julian Edelman being probably the only wide receiver who's proven. There's N'Keal Harry. I couldn't name after N'Keal Harry. I couldn't name him. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know who is left. Chris Hogan's gone. Philip Dorsett is gone. So it's like, I don't know who we're talking. Chester Rogers, I think, is on the team. I don't fucking know. But like tight end wise, they got those 2 tight ends in the draft. So we'll see how. According to
ESPN, kicker in the draft.
According to the ESPN, like, those 2 are not even in the top 5 when they were drafted at their position. And they got the safety from God knows where, Lane College or whatever the fuck. And it
was at D2 school. I'm not gonna look it up again.
So either way, I'm not too worried about this team. This team is in full transition mode until the near future. But in the back of your mind, you're like, it's the Patriots, Bill Belichick, and I think Bill Belichick made Tom Brady. So we'll see what happens.
So are you saying what's their final record?
I said,
and are they winning their division?
6-10. They'll be 3rd place in the division. The 4th place team, we're going to talk about the Dolphins. So we'll see.
First, we got the AFC East this week. The next 2 weeks, I should say. First of all, I can hear in the fucking shitty cliche right now in the media. This year, it seems like it's the AFC least, like they always do for the NFC least. To use your voice for a moment, buddy. The NFC least. I mean, can you think of something more creative? Can I just start there? For like, how about NFC beat? NFC beat. How about NFC weak ass East? Have you ever thought about that? Go farmer with the motherfucker? Something better than the same trope every year, and every channel acts like they made it up all on their own. Nope, Fox, you're doing it. ESPN, you're doing it. NFL Network, CBS, ABC, you name it. You're fucking doing it. You know, with that being said, we'll start with the Patriots. And the Patriots, I'm going to give you my number just right off the bat. Bill Belichick slums his way to a 9-7. I don't think he slums his way to slums his way to a 9-7.
I'm out here giving 6-10, and you're over here saying you're slumming them at 9-7. Also to make another point, they are in the top 5 of the hardest. They all have the hardest schedule. So.
And I was gonna mention that as well. We said that last week too when we reviewed our hardest week of schedules, and they do have easily the most difficult schedule. They also still have Bill Belichick. They also still have one of the best defenses in the league, no matter which way you want to throw it. Yes, they lost Van Noy, as you pointed out, but that you're not going to beat that wall. That wall is still going to get them a couple wins. They won half their games last year through that defense. So to think that defense is going to be any different, is going to be any less intimidating or effective, I don't see that happening. But yes, I say slums their way in the most difficult schedule to 9-7. I think the Bills ultimately win this division, and we'll get more of that next week. But I see that the defense is going to just doesn't. I see them winning majority of the games. Every game they win, it is the defense. In terms of the offense, it is dog shit. It's going to literally be difficult to watch. Bet the under on every single Patriots game this year easily. I think Hoyer ends up running. I think we're going to see a couple different starting QBs actually throughout the weeks. It's going to be very Alabama circa 2018, circa 2019. So yeah, that plain simple. I'm not going to explain it too much more than that, baby. That's just where I see it. I don't see Bill Belichick going under 500. I don't think he does that. I don't see him tanking for Trevor, as everybody likes to see. Nudie pointed out what they got, what they don't have, man. So that's with what they got, it's still the best football mind in planet Earth ever, and that is Bill Belichick.
Hold on, quick answer: yes or no? Playoffs or no playoffs? Because 9-7 makes the playoffs, kind of.
I gotta look more as we break it down, and I'll give you my official answer once we give you all of our previews. But I say they can definitely squeeze in as a wild card. I'd say they can squeeze in.
All right. Well, I'm not even going to talk about them anymore because they have enough. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think it's a we'll see scenario with them more than anybody. But a team,
the AFC Lakes.
But the team that I know will go dead last in the division, and I have them at 4-12 going this year, is the Dolphins. If you're talking about the Patriots' hardest schedule, they are probably like third or fourth. And it doesn't get easy in the beginning. They play the 49ers, they play the Chargers. Pretty good defenses. And if you either start Fitzpatrick or Tua, it's not going to be an easy road for them to get over that. Devontae Parker had his quote-unquote breakout season last year. You have Mike Gesicki, probably an athletic tight end. For the AFC Sleeper, by the way. Pick him up.
Hey, drop it.
They fixed the backfield kind of. They brought in Matt Breida. They brought in Jordan Howard. So kind of like some good running backs in the back. No Patrick Allaire or Lard or whatever his fucking name is. They also
I'm not gonna get there right now, buddy. I need my second cup of coffee.
Yeah, Albert Wilson is the next wide receiver on that depth chart, and like all these things. They paid money for Byron Jones, Kyle Van Noy. So they're shoring up a defense that's pretty. It's not bad. Like when you look at it on paper, like they have probably the second best quarterback tandem between Jones and Xavier Howard. Like they are pretty good on the defensive side. And like the only reason why I say 4-12 is because I think Brian Flores is a great coach and I like him. He's a great, I think he's going to do well. I think it takes a little bit of time to get to where you want to be, especially when you bring in a quarterback, a new offensive line, new coordinators. I mean, it's tough. I mean, they had a bunch of picks. I think they did great in the draft and great in free agency. But to have everything working together, it's gonna take time. And I think this team will be good in the next 2 to 3 years. But right now, I think they just take their licks, kind of like the Browns did. Kind of like, I mean, any team that had to restart with a quarterback, the Redskins, all that stuff. I don't think there's instant success right away. But I think this team is built to have success later. But for right now, they'll go 4-12. They'll have a high draft pick. They'll draft somebody on the defense or offensive weapon for Tua, and that's the next question. When does Tua start? So I think Ryan Fitzpatrick goes out there. He does the Ryan Fitzpatrick thing where people think he's going to be great. He throws like 6 interceptions week 4, and then we'll have Tua, and then Tua is going to be the start of the rest of the year. And hopefully Tua's hip is good. I mean, he says he's good. Everybody, all those videos says he's good.
Preston, by the way. Sorry to interject. Preston Williams.
I mean, he's a bum. Like, I mean, you're just naming bums. It's not like we're having AB going right now. So, yeah.
But, I can't let a name go like that.
So, the Dolphins, 4-12. That's my final prediction. Jordan Howard, good pickup. Brian Jones, good pickup. But all in all, 2021, we'll discuss the Dolphins more in depth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's much more than I could add to that. I'm kind of on the same page with you pretty much. But I do want you to imagine. Sit back down, baby, where you go. Because I want to see your face for this. Sometimes we get up during these recordings, but I want to see his face for this. He may have peed, so I'm going to go ahead and just go if he's going pee. And, I mean, I want you all, face of this franchise listeners, to imagine a world where Fitzmagic, Ryan Fitzmagic, Nudie, there he is, that face is back, leads the Dolphins to the promised land and their second undefeated season, and he finally puts it all together at age 65, however fucking old he is, and does all the magic and shocks the world with the great receivers that is Preston Williams and Bigfoot Devontae Parker.
Hold
on.
I want to know, Joe, what do you do on the side? Like, besides recording and, like, your actual jobs, what do you do on the side?
I'm so glad you asked. A lot of heroin. A lot of heroin mixed
He's a
with
fucking
PCP.
because that was the most. First of all, they
Does
had
that explain my theory?
a hard schedule. A hard schedule. I just
They
leave it
do.
at schedule. There's no way they're going undefeated. It's fucking ridiculous.
top 5 most difficult schedule.
Or the Steelers or the Cowboys schedule.
Before you went P, you missed that this was theoretical. Maybe my PCP finally kicked in a little bit. I'm gonna try to wear it off. I said that I am on the same page with you. There's not much more I can add to this team, man. I think 4-12 is fair. 3-13 kind of field for sure. They're gonna be top 5 picking again. We've pretty much attack the Dolphins as much as we can, and there's not much more to say. We know that they're in garbage land. We know they're shit of shit. As I like to say, they're going to be the shit bowl when they see the red. I believe we don't see them again, but it's there's not much more to add, man. It's garbage land. 4-12 easily. They don't have too much to get excited about. I think Tua starts pretty quickly, man. I'd say definitely over under. Take the under in week 5.
Week 3. I said week 3, so.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add about this fucking team.
If they go 0-2, they're gonna want Tua. It's like what happened with fucking Case Keenum and fucking Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne was getting I know Dwayne didn't start until week 10, but still, it's
it was around there, week 8, 9, something like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it is what it is, man. I don't see Tua's gonna start regardless. This team's gonna be a joke again, just like my Skins are, and that's it.
Well, we'll see what happens with these two teams. But the next 2 teams we talk about are the 2 teams I think are going to be first and second in the division, Bills and Jets. So stick around for that next episode. The way I want to end this show is I love it. Let's just say I love social media. I love how social media connects us.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate how social media makes fans overthink certain things. And I'm talking about workout videos. Specifically, you have Alvin Kamara on a basketball court with a bar with kettlebells doing a balancing act, and people think, oh, Alvin Kamara is back. Alvin Kamara is going to be a top 5 running back.
He's a superhero, baby. Watch out.
You have CeeDee Lamb running routes and catching this color-coordinated kind of triangle, and they're saying white, so you have to catch it on white. If you watch that video, the guy who's throwing him the colors is throwing the white part of the triangle right at him. So all he has to do is grab it out of there and come back. It's not like he's focusing or anything like that. People think, and I have a Cowboys fan in my group chat that talks about how CeeDee Lamb is probably going to be better than Cooper Kupp, number 1, a guy who's established in the league. Listen, be happy about your draft picks. I get it. And listen, as a Steelers fan, I'm here to say one thing and one thing only. Ben Roethlisberger lost weight. Congratulations, finally. Thank God. You're now Captain Slim Fuck, not Captain Fat Fuck. You get a haircut because you threw an NFL pass. Juju's telling you he's back. James Conner's saying he's back. No, I'm not saying he's back. There's no way I'm saying he's back until I see an NFL throw in an NFL game. Stop it. Everybody stop it. This is just nonsense. You all are doing the hype train shit to all your teams, all your players. Do not give me that nonsense of rookies being great, rookies that are drafted in the 5th and 6th round because you saw them run up a fucking hill and you think you got the next Antonio Brown in the 6th round. Stop with that shit. Honestly, Andy Dalton was throwing to a fucking target in his backyard, and everybody thought he was back to 2013 Andy Dalton when he took him to the playoffs and eventually lost to the Chargers. Give me a fucking break, dude.
Yeah, this just speaks to, again, quarantine times, man. It's just kind of the weird land we're in, right? Anyone will take any sort of content at this point. The director of Jojo Rabbit and Thor, Ragnarok, and some other great films is reading James and the Giant Peach with the Hemsworth brothers and Nick Kroll just to put on a larger scope of things. Anything is kind of going right now, right? So it's just kind of where we are. Weird times where anyone will take celebrities reading fucking children's books and spend an hour watching it, man. I don't really know what else to say.
I just don't want. I want people to be realistic. Like, don't give me this fucking bullshit of a guy throwing in his backyard to his kid and thinking, "Oh, we have a fucking all-pro quarterback again." No, like, give me a break. Listen, you want me to tell you when Alvin Kamara?
It was heartwarming seeing Alex throw to his kid. Don't you belittle the man's accomplishments, Nudie.
No,
Don't you belittle. You're the guy that's hating. You know what you're doing right now? You're the guy that's hating on the videos of the soldier coming home.
Oh no!
And surprising their family. That's you.
that. I didn't say Alex Smith. Alex Smith's videos show his perseverance, and I like that. I'm talking about guys who weren't even injured last year. Yes, Ben Roethlisberger was injured, but he wasn't Alex Smith injured. Like, give me a break. That's different. You're an asshole for that.
Spin zone.
Anyways, but Joe, what's your final words? And you know what to do at the end, baby.
Yeah, I gave you a little Fox News treatment there. I hope you enjoyed it. No, I think they're definitely overdoing those workout videos to kind of give a final thought on that. Final thoughts overall. Don't go give a home evasion, especially when you're a millionaire. There's other things you can do during this quarantine. Find other activities. Maybe knit, play chess, learn how to cook, read a book.
Yeah.
And
you want to tell people where to find us? What they
I do. As I can tell, you can tell I need that second cup of coffee today. But anything else you want to have on your final thoughts, baby, before I go in?
That's it. Just chill out. That's all I'm going to tell people. Chill the fuck out.
With that being said, you all do know what to do right now. There is another thing you can do, and I should have added this. Would have been a perfect pro-mail transition, but you live and you learn. They all can't be winners. But another thing, instead of home evasion, you can go start a podcast. Of course, DM at the Four Corners Radio right now to start your own podcast, to be part of the all-star lineup. That is, of course, Hoopin' and Hollering, Five Holers, Bread and Butter, Last Nights Guys, Degenerates Are Us, Face of the Franchise, and Free Therapy.
You got them. You got them all.
I got them all, baby. Maybe I don't need that second cup of coffee. I think I kind of do because I can barely speak to you. But Face of the Franchise listeners, go follow at the Four Corners Radio right now. Like, subscribe, DM us if you want to start your own podcast. Get it going. I think we out.
All right. As always, stay breezy, stay easy. One love.
Ha ha!